Well, it's 9 p.m. East African time. A warm welcome from wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world. Property worth millions of shillings destroyed after fire raises down a dormitory in Butula, that's in Busia County, and also Machakos County, dismissing those reports that Governor Wavinya Ndeti has been arrested in the United Kingdom. Just what is going on? Those details are coming up tonight on this live broadcast. But first things first, a look at our top stories. Parents of victims of Hillside Endarasha Academy Dome fire tragedy to wait for 1 month for DNA matching results. Acting Police Boss Gilbert Masengeli stares at a jail term after High Court finds him guilty of contempt of court. Leaders from northeastern Kenya shun a meeting called by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Thank you for joining us very much indeed. Anne Wangeshi is in charge of our sign language docket. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Now, our top story. President William Ruto has reiterated his administration's commitment to urban development and youth empowerment in the informal settlement. The president, who spoke during the inspection of the Kibra Soweto East affordable housing project on Monday, outlined the government's plan to uplift the living standards in the informal settlements through targeted infrastructure, affordable housing, as well as job creation. That report opening our coverage tonight.
President William Ruto on Monday inspected the construction of more than 4,054 housing units under the Kibra Soweto East affordable housing project. The president underscored his administration's commitment to ensuring that no community is left behind in the quest for development. The head of state expressed satisfaction with the project's progress, which he said, upon completion, will improve access to basic services such as water, sanitation and health. Phase 2 of the project, comprising of 15,000 units, will, according to the head of state, commence before the end of next year, while Phase 3 for 20,000 units will start in January next year. Nationally, the president noted that more than 110,000 units were under construction across the country. For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
On to that update from Endarasha now. Parents of 19 victims of the Hillside School are tonight expressing concern, wondering whether there is an update regarding that story. I'll take that again. Parents of 19 victims of Hillside Endarasha Academy fire tragedy will have to wait for at least 1 month. Those are the concerns they're raising as the Directorate of Criminal Investigations rushes against time to match their DNA. The government, in the meantime, says that it has accounted for all the 164 people who were in the ill-fated dormitory, with the number of fatalities standing at 21 and 3 undergoing treatment. Let's move into the corridors of justice, where the High Court has convicted the acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, for contempt of court after failing to honor court summons while issuing the ruling. Justice Lawrence Mugambi said that the conduct of the Inspector General as a state officer undermines the supremacy of the Constitution and also the rule of law. Masengeli has defied 5 court summons, believe it or not, which he was expected to explain the whereabouts of 3 missing persons from Kitengela on the 19th of August. And as Ruth Wamboi reports, Masengeli will be sentenced on Friday.
Monday at the Milimani's court at 10:45 a.m. and defiant Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli was a no-show for the fifth time. The court was informed by Chief State Counsel Charles Mutinda that Masengeli was in Wajir County for security operation and had instead sent his deputy Eliud Lagat.
It was for the appearance for an explanation why the habeas corpus orders have not been complied with.
Okay.
Lastly, my Lord, as I finish, and I wanted to go on record, because we have said it time and again, that we had filed an affidavit.
Leave that, because the reason why I did not look at that affidavit is because the issues petitioners had raised were not getting addressed. And that affidavit you are referring to came much later, even after the court had issued those orders and made a ruling.
For all the missing persons that we are still trying to uncover.
The petitioners' lawyers, led by LSK President Faith Odhiambo, argued several summons had been snubbed and the court should go ahead and sentence him to the maximum penalty.
It is clear that the respondents are the ones in charge of security in this country. They are in effect in charge of execution of warrants of arrest. They have clearly shown that they have no respect for the rule of law.
Delivering the verdict, Justice Lawrence Mugambi said state officers entrusted with public officers like the acting IJ must abide by the Constitution.
It is my finding that the first respondent, Acting Inspector General of Police, is guilty of contempt of court. The court has a responsibility to punish deliberate actions that undermine the Constitution and its authority. The faith and the trust of Kenyans in the rule of law that they have suffered for too long cannot be taken for granted and decimated through acts of impunity.
Justice Mugambi has further summoned the head of VIP unit, Lazarus Opicho, on Friday for calling his bodyguards and driver over the weekend to know his whereabouts.
There has been and becoming contact by a senior police officer, the former JPU commandant, Lazarus Opicho, now the head of VVIP protection unit in the police, which the court considers as bordering on intimidation. I would thus order that Mr. Lazarus Opicho be and seen by someone to explain the conduct that included calling my bodyguard and the driver, trying to ascertain my whereabouts behind my back. I also need to ascertain what the reasons behind such an inquiry and many other concerns.
An attempt by Counsel Charles Mutinda to grant stay orders of the ruling for 14 days hit a snag.
We also sound ourselves strongly as the Law Society of Kenya that we stand firmly for judicial independence and that we'll stand with our courts of law as long as they stand with the people of Kenya, that they can carry out their duties without fear or favor of any intimidation by any person holding any position in this country.
A wanted man found guilty of undermining the principle of accountability and contempt of court. Ruth Wamboi reporting from Milimani's High Court.
Now, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, says that he's disappointed with leaders from ASAL areas who have failed to honor his invitation for a high-level meeting of the North and the Northeastern Development Forum held at his current residence Monday morning. The Deputy President said that the leaders were expected to contribute to discussions on the ongoing 15 projects funded by the World Bank within their regions and how the locals are benefiting. The leaders from Isiolo and Turkana counties who attended the meeting raised issues of compensation of those displaced by the projects who have been waiting since the year 2019.
It was a meeting to take stock on a number of projects in 10 counties being undertaken under the North and Northeastern Development Initiative. Government officials and partners had converged at the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's current residence in Nairobi County.
Mheshimiwa, that is why I did direct that members of parliament be invited to this meeting.
However, a number of leaders from the Asal region who had been invited were a no-show, and this caught the attention of the Deputy President.
And we are here saying you are meeting with the governors. There are only 10 people. Where are the members of parliament? Where are the women rights? Where are the MCS? They are leaders.
But where are your colleagues from the rest of the 10 counties? Where are they? Then they'll start saying they are not involved. Invitations were made to everybody. They should have been here. So that when the issues that concern their people are being discussed, they are part and parcel. Because it's good, those of you who have come, because now the Isiolo County MP has raised very pertinent issues. If she was not here, they have been able to raise that issue.
The DP underscoring the importance of the engagement, saying feedback from the ground was key for government to plan going forward.
So these invitations were made to all the members of parliament across the counties. And we see the representation is just a few counties. So when you see them, ask them, when issues to do with their people are being discussed, these are very serious issues. These are very serious funding by the World Bank. These are projects that will impact lives, that will change livelihoods. There are challenges on the ground. They should have been here to take this meeting through and ask for answers.
During the high-level meeting, the DP asked Kenha and NLC to ensure that those are displaced by 15 projects, sponsored fully by the World Bank since the project started in 2019, are compensated.
The total approved is 15 million to cater for the loss of time. So indeed, the government is going to support the project in terms of resettlement. The money is available up to December this year, according to the restructuring paper.
You're asking us to come and launch, and the people there in Isiolo are unhappy. We are likely to get into a lot of problems that will actually be side shows to the actual gains of the project, because people are very emotive about land. Land is very emotive. I think we need to get an update between Kenya and NLC.
Leaders from Isiolo County who raised their concerns over the land evaluation carried out by the two state agencies noted that the figures proposed for acquisition were on the lower side. Turkana leaders present said the program coordinators and donors should consult the elected representatives on the ground so that they can inform the public on how the projects are beneficial to them. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Moving on now, even as the planned TISA 9 strike by university students was called off Sunday, several students from different universities took to the streets Monday over the new university funding model. As Frederick Gumo reports, the protests, which had been overtaken by event, fizzled out without any major incident.
Pockets of students from various universities took to the streets to oppose the new university funding model, which they termed as discriminatory. The protests were, however, called off on Sunday after the government and student leaders agreed on a way forward. But despite all that, some students nevertheless were on the streets. In Mombasa, a section of students from the Technical University of Mombasa demonstrated against the new university funding model, terming it as punitive.
Wameadmitiwa kama hii wiki, last week, ni wengi ni band 4 na 5. Kumaanisha the band 1 wale ambao wazazi wao hawana kitu, hawajafika shule, wako bado majumbani. And those are dreams, those are future doctors, those are future leaders. That means their dreams are they are being killed.
They are now demanding for the removal of band 4 and band 5 of the model, or the abolishment of the model in totality.
For the Minister of Education, go back, reschedule the MTI, the mean testing instrument, reschedule that.
The situation was similar in Machakos County after students from Machakos University engaged police in cat and mouse game.
We are pleading with the president just to reduce the bands. Most of the students have been placed at band 5, which is very corrupt.
Categorically, we are here to raise our voice to the government. concerning the new funding model. It's burdening our parents, and we are saying a big no with capital letters to the new funding model.
The government on Sunday announced the establishment of 2 working committees to review the new funding model. Parasai Frederick, Prime Edition.
Now, the county government of Machakos has dismissed reports that Governor Wavinya Ndeti has been arrested in the United Kingdom for smuggling millions of shillings. In a statement that has termed the reports as a mayor smear campaign orchestrated by Wavinya's political detractors, the Office of the Governor of Machakos has urged state agencies to swiftly launch investigations to uncover the source of the information which it termed as false and demeaning.
Social media has been abuzz with allegations that Machakos County Governor Wavinya Ndeti and her son have been arrested in the United Kingdom in possession of hundreds of millions of shillings. The allegations appear to have caused jitters to the very last village in the Eastern Region County, prompting the County Secretary Mboya Ndambuki to come to the governor's defense. According to Ndambuki, the allegations are unfounded.
To the extent that the said content conveys a package of established falsehoods, the county government of Machakos wishes to take this earliest opportunity to distance itself from the entire network of lies and untruths and calls upon those before whom this concern and complaint have been placed to act with speed and accuracy in getting beyond the bottom thereof.
Mboya vowed the county government will immediately take legal action against those publishing what he has termed as false and demeaning information against the governor.
The totality of the assortment, assembly and package makes no reference as to its authorship, origination, date, or source. Yet it has webbed its way into the public domain, calling upon those agencies to ensure that they trace the subject content to its origination.
Earlier today, through her X platform, the governor accused her political detractors for spearheading a smear campaign against her. She says the campaign is aimed at dampening the impact of her transformative work in the county. She urged those spewing such information to arm themselves with evidence of their allegations when the law comes knocking. Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
A section of doctors from Nairobi Hospital are threatening to down their tools should the institution's board of management fail to resign by next week, Monday the 16th of September. The doctors, led by Kenya Hospitals Association member Mila Bwire, are accusing the hospital's top management of allegedly orchestrating corrupt procurement processes to enrich themselves, risking the closure of the health service provider.
The doctors have vowed to mobilize their colleagues to withdraw their services starting midnight 16th September 2024.
That they have until the 16th of September 2024 to honorably resign and leave office in light of all the challenges and concerns that have been noted and raised.
They claim their decision will be in response to what they termed as bad governance, which is threatening to sink the Nairobi hospital into a crisis. Speaking on their behalf in Nairobi, the Kenya Hospital Association member Mila Bwire accused the board of management and CEO of the hospital of engaging in open lawlessness and putting the hospital in a brink of collapse.
There is flagrant breach of fiduciary duties by the board of directors and chief executive of the Nairobi Hospital. The duty of care, loyalty, utmost good faith, confidentiality, financial discipline, and prudence by the board and the chief executive are glaringly lacking.
They cited lack of integrity, conflict of interest, and the management doing business with the hospital through proxies and relatives as some of their complaints.
There is a crisis, as I've indicated, of corporate governance at the hospital. The board of directors and indeed the chief executive officer do not want to be accountable and transparent in the management and financial undertakings of the hospital.
Last month, the Nairobi Hospital management obtained a court order barring the owners of the hospital from circulating a notice calling for the board's removal from office. Efforts to reach out to the hospital management were futile. Joseph Ohungu, Prime Edition.
Well, is Nairobi Hospital falling sick? We will be tracking for you the health status of that Nairobi Hospital story. It is 19 minutes past the top of the hour. We're taking a short break. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Ni aje mam, umeupdate token meter yetu?
Ai, kuupdate token meter yetu? Hiyo ni nini?
Acha nikuchanue mam. Leta simu yako. So, kuna hii text tulipata from Kenya Power. Kwa hiyo text kuna code 2. Weka code ya kwanza ku reset token meter. Alafu weka code ya pili ku update token meter.
Haya, ni hivyo tu. Wacha niulize wa mama wangu wa chama kama wameupdate token meter zao, wajipange.
Ni zawadi za kila wiki, 100,000 kila wiki, 250,000 kila wiki. Uamuzi ni wako. Sasa Lutomoto kwenye holiday bonanza hii inakuletea game mpya kupitia *570# option 4 na ujishindia up to 250,000 Kenyan shillings ukiwa nyumbani. Na draw ni ya kila wiki na kupata tikiti yako ni kupitia *570# pekee option 4 na tikiti yako ikitufikia inaingia ndani ya drum.
There's faith in my world. It comes back to your teachings and all your words.
Swala ni jambo ambalo limesisitiziwa kwa sababu Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam aliwahi kusema kuwa amefaidika yule ambaye atatekeleza swala yake hali ya kuwa ana khushu'.
Leo ni kufinish kumalo.
Hey time. Next year visionary shit.
Octopizzo's brand new album listening party that went down at the European Union Ambassador's residence right here in Nairobi. Now it's a 12-track album dubbed Kitsch Kaliech.
You and I both know the things I can't afford, but I can't afford to lose you.
He had a one-man show called the Keithan Experience, the second edition, which was dubbed the Healing Edition.
It was a moment of pride, not just for them, but for everyone who believes in the power of inclusivity.
I need to talk about this collaboration that I believe none of us saw it coming. That is Wakadinali featuring Susanna Owio. I mean...
Yeah.
Kesho itakamna nini? Now that uliniachia mkidi, nilijua gaweni
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
Welcome back, our socials at KBC Channel 1. Now, a 25-year-old man from Shilahao village that's in Kakamega County has killed his 49-year-old father, identified as Kizito Hamas, following a dispute over a dead pig. According to the family, the argument began after the young man's grandmother found the dead animal, and on further probing, the matter escalated into violence, which prompted the suspects further to intervene. The family says that during the argument, the son attacked the father, killing him instantly.
A cloud of sadness has engulfed a Shilalio village in Shinyalu constituency after a 25-year-old man killed his 49-year-old father, identified as Kizito Hamas, following a dispute over a dead pig. The mother of the deceased painfully narrates the heart-wrenching turn of events, saying it all began when she found her pig dead and confronted her grandson about the matter.
Sasa mmoja mtoto wangu alisema mama alikuja tu saa hii aliua nguruwe saa ngapi?
Ilikuwa ni kama saa 1, saa 2. Babake aliingia. Na huyo mtoto anakaa na shosho yake. Babake akasikia makelele huko kwa mama yake, akauliza ni nini mbaya, na huko tunasikia kelele, Sami anaongea juu hivi, kuna nini? Nikamwambia mimi hata sijui, nasikia anagombana, anataja maana mbona nguruwe imekufa.
Tension flared as the two argued, prompting the suspect's father, Kizito Hamas, to intervene in an attempt to cool the situation.
Basi akasema wacha mimi niende kuangalia ni nini mbaya. Manake alikuwa amelewa kidogo, nikamwambia usiende, manake unamjua huyo mtoto wako. Wewe ndio ulimzaa, unamjua na kuanga juu, si mtoto wa kuwa chini. Ukiongea yeye anakuanga tu juu, ngoja utaenda tu akishapoa hiyo ugomvi yake. Akakadikataza, akasema kwamba, akaniambia kwamba mimi mpaka niende niangalia anaongelea nini.
The confrontation will later turn violent, with the son attacking his father, fatally injuring him.
Kutoka kwa nyumba nasikia tu shosho ya mama yake ambaye ni shosho ya mtoto akiuliza, akisema hakika wewe umeoa babako. Umeoa babako Sami, umeoa babako. Basi mimi ikawa nimekuja tukaangalia, tukakuta kweli bwanangu amelala chini.
Alichukua panga, alimkata na hiyo panga huko. Panga alikufa. Ananiangalia tu hivi. Alimkata hapa singo. Alimkata hapa.
Confirming the incident, the family said the perpetrator, identified as Samuel Muhangani, who is now on the run, has been a source of conflict within the family for some time.
Hata kaangi hapa ni mtu mwenye anatembea tena kurubu mbaya. Si mtoto mzuri.
The body of the deceased was taken to Kakamega County Referral Hospital mortuary, pending further investigations. John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
Kenya, Zambia, Sierra Leone and Uganda have announced the formation of a regional anti-money laundering task force. During a high-level workshop hosted by the Auditor General, Nancy Gathongo, auditors from the 5 countries agreed that the new initiative will coordinate the anti-money laundering efforts across the member countries and enhance transparency.
The announcement came during a high-level workshop hosted by Auditor General Nancy Gathungu in Nairobi. Delegations from Kenya, Zambia, Sierra Leone and Uganda emphasized that the regional task force is both timely and strategic in addressing the complex challenges in anti-money laundering audits.
Kenya has been grey-listed, and many of our countries in the region have been grey-listed. So it is important that we put our heads together and help them to come out of this grey listing.
This audit then will also go towards contribution in terms of maybe what can be done better or differently for us then to be at a very stable position, not only on matters AML, but basically financial management.
The urgency of the regional task force is highlighted by alarming statistics from a 2020 United Nations report, which reveals that Africa loses nearly $89 billion annually due to money laundering. The problem is particularly acute in participating countries Kenya, Sierra Leone, Uganda and Zambia, each of which loses over $1 billion each year to such illicit activities.
It's kind of like a chain. So you have, in the Netherlands, you have like the banks, and they need to report suspicious transactions. And then they go to the government, and the government needs to look into this data and select the most suspicious transaction and then prosecute or trying to prosecute the most likely cases of money laundering to effectively stop money laundering, or at least hinder it as much as possible.
There's been a lot of pushback from the public around the tightening of cash transactions and monitoring. And we have pushed back as well and tried in our own ways also to make them understand why are we doing this? Why are we saying that if you're depositing 1 million Kenya shillings or the amount now of 5 million, why do you need to provide additional details?
The task force is designed to combat these substantial financial losses and foster greater transparency and accountability within the region. By pooling resources and expertise, the member countries aim to strengthen their collective ability to tackle financial crime.
This is an opportunity for us to expose the region, capacitate the region with different skills for us to be able to respond to the money laundering, fraud and corruption that has taken over our region.
Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Let's now revisit that top story where parents of 19 victims of Hillside Endarasha Academy fire tragedy will have to wait for at least 1 month as the Directorate of Criminal Investigations rushes against time to match their DNA. Government, in the meantime, is saying that it has accounted for all the 164 people who were in the ill-fated dormitory, with a number of fatalities standing at 29 and 3 undergoing treatment. Here now is that report.
Narumoru Level 4 Hospital. Parents and relatives of the children who succumbed to the Thursday night fire tragedy gather at the mortuary for a heart-wrenching exercise. DNA matching with victims mostly burnt beyond recognition. Some too overwhelmed to bear the emotion of losing their loved ones. Some remained hopeful that their children were just missing and not victims of a tragedy, but their hopes were dashed following reconciliation of numbers.
My boy wasn't among the fatalities, wasn't among the admitted, so must be among the 19 missed bodies. Yeah, and that's why we came for the DNA sampling.
The Directorate of Criminal Investigations conducted nasal swabs on parents, samples that will take a month to analyze before the accurate matching of DNA.
They said that it will be well being done from the mother of the kid because of the probabilities, because the mother has the highest probability. So I was there supporting my wife in the whole process. So the registration took over. And then from there, we were briefed about how it is going to be done. It is swabbing, like the one that will be done at COVID. Then from there, we went to where the swabbing was being done. The sample was taken, another registration was done, and we are also being asked, do you have anything that could be permanently beyond the kid that can be able to identify it faster?
The scientific process of DNA matching, and clearly we all understand that this is a scientific process which has to take some time, not necessarily a lot of time, but we must allow so that there is no room for error.
The government says it has accounted for all 164 pupils who are in the ill-fated dormitory, with the death toll standing at 21.
The national government team, especially the chiefs, were with that Red Cross team, and we have been able to account for everybody. All the parents have been reached, and now we are okay as far as the missing, those who are missing are concerned.
We have been able to reconcile all the figures. We do not have a single missing child. We know where those that are with their parents. We know those that are in hospital. We are well aware of the bodies that we have.
4 days after the incident, the government is yet to establish the cause of the inferno.
When this transient struck, then this year in the quarters right from Nairobi, they were by 8 p.m. the following day, they were on the side, and they have not even slept. They have been continuing with the evidence there, and you can see the progress. If you see us today here, then you can realize the progress which they have taken, and they have been quick.
And as government grapples with meeting all medical and funeral costs for the victims, it also has to deal with the headache of reopening the school for grade 6 students expected to sit their KPSEA exams. While the question of how many children succumbed in the fire tragedy appears to have been resolved, it will be another 1 month of agony for parents before they can bury their loved ones, as 19 of them were burnt beyond recognition and need DNA matching. John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
Of course, the DNA matching ongoing there, government confirming that 154 pupils have been accounted for and 21 confirmed dead and not 29, as I'd earlier mentioned. Now, the Communist Party of Kenya National Vice Chairman Buka Ngesa is now claiming that his life is in danger after his home was raided and property of unknown value destroyed. Ngesa says that he was denied from traveling to China and temporarily detained at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA police station, and later on released. Ngesa was directed to report at the Central Police Station Monday for further questioning.
When I came in here, just when I was having an interrogation, there was another detergent deployed at my residence that broke into my house, destroyed things, and actually claimed to have had a court order to access my private property.
So we are saying we are not stopping, and our voice must be listened, because Chapter 1 of the Kenyan Constitution, all sovereign power belongs to the people, and we are the people. So why intimidate us?
On the Cabinet feature tonight, we take a closer look at the political career of Frederick Gumo. That's a man who rose from being the mayor of Kitale to becoming a key player in Kenya's national politics. Let's now delve into Fred Gumo's political journey, including his time as a minister in the Grand Coalition government.
Frederick Gumo was born in 1945. He studied diploma in mechanical engineering at the Kenya Polytechnic and went on to acquire a higher diploma in the same field at Metropolitan College in London. In 1974, Gumo became the mayor of Kitale, Trans Nzoia district, now Trans Nzoia County, at the age of 27 and held the position for 6 years. He joined parliamentary politics in 1979, and despite being the new kid on the block, he defeated Masinde Muliro, a veteran politician, in polls that were riddled with claims of rigging. In 1984, the High Court overturned Gumo's victory over Muliro in the 1983 elections for Kitale East constituency, citing massively rigged. Gumo did not contest in the subsequent by-election. He tried to make a political comeback in Kwanza constituency in 1988, but failed, this time defeated by Noah Wekesa. In 1989, he was appointed the chairman of Nairobi City Commission, the first such appointment by the office of the president, as previous appointments were by the Minister for Local Government. Gumo shifted base from Trans Nzoia to his original home Bunyala in the then Busia district, now Busia County, but he was defeated by James Osogo at the nominations. 4 years later, his luck came calling when he took a gamble and contested in the Westlands by-election in 1996 following the death of Member of Parliament Amin Walji. He garnered a paltry 1,200 votes, the lowest to be recorded in the multi-party era. In the 1997 general election, Gumo, running on a KANU ticket, defeated Betty Tet of the Democratic Party in the most controversial parliamentary poll that year. He ended up earning the distinction of being the only KANU member of parliament in the then opposition-dominated Nairobi region. During his heyday in politics, Gumo came to be associated with two Kiswahili phrases, Jeshi la Mzee and Kaa Gumu, which earned him mileage and admiration in a political environment where right connections triumphed over polished speeches and presentation. Jeshi la Mzee, or Mzee Daniel Arap Moi's army, was a ragtag militia Gumo commanded while Member of Parliament for Westlands constituency in Nairobi, which would do anything to protect Moi's and the Kenya African National Union's interest in the Kenya's capital. Kaa Gumu, relent not, became Gumo's slogan in his final years in politics. This feat caught President Moi's eye, and Gumo would be rewarded with appointments as assistant minister. From 2003 to 2007, Gumo was appointed assistant minister in the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, and later to that of Education. In 2008, he was appointed Minister for Regional Development Authorities by President Mwai Kibaki in the Government of National Unity. He steered the ministry until the end of Kibaki's tenure in 2013. The Ministry of Regional Development Authorities later became a directorate in the Ministry of East African Community and Regional Development. In June 2009, a new government bill was published requiring cabinet ministers to be degree holders. Gumo, who has a higher diploma in mechanical engineering from Metropolis College in London, was among ministers who were to be affected if the new proposal was effected. The bill never went through as the country awaited the new constitution that would provide for how the cabinet is constituted. This would have effectively locked Gumo out of the cabinet or forced him back to class to acquire the necessary academic qualification. Gumo never shied away from even the most controversial political issues of the day. In October 2008, he was among those who rejected the Waki report, going against the party leader Raila Odinga. Gumo was also involved in the contentious issues of the Mau Forest Complex evictions. He argued that conservation of Kenya's water catchment areas should spread beyond the Mau to areas such as Masinga and Kiambere dams, where encroachment was threatening the country's power supply. In 2013, after serving in the Government of National Unity as Cabinet Minister and Member of Parliament for Westlands, Gumo exited the political scene, satisfied that he had done what he could during his political life. Jackie Wambiru, The Cabinet.
Siamini. Amini usiamini, Holiday Bonanza ni ya kila mtu na zawadi zitakufikia mahali popote. Dial *570#, chagua option 4 na zawadi kibao zinakungoja. Ikiwa kila wiki kuna 250,000 Kenyan shillings za kushindaniwa. Ni *570# pekee, option 4, tushinde!
Harambee Stars plays Namibia in their second Africa Cup of Nations 2025 qualifier on Tuesday, 10th of September at the Orlando Stadium in Johannesburg, South Africa. Catch the match live on KBC Channel 1 beginning at 7 p.m. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Welcome back. It's now time to look at the day's business.
Thank you, Tom. Indeed, it is time to make sense of the numbers. My name is Betty Kiptum. Now, plans are underway to reduce the rate of value-added tax, that's VAT, from the current 16% to 14%, as well as slash corporate tax from the current 30% to 25%, to boost tax compliance. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi hopes that reduced tax rates will fuel expansion of the tax base and help increase tax collections. Take a look.
In July, the National Treasury issued guidelines for the 2025-2026 budget, requiring sector working groups and accounting officers to review and prioritize their allocations. The 2025-2026 budget will be based on projected GDP growth of 5.5% in 2025, with plans to reduce expenditure to 21.5% of GDP in the medium term, even as the government adopts a new budgeting approach.
We are changing the mode and method of doing the budgeting, and even in terms of our accounting and reporting will shortly change, because we are moving from the cash basis of accounting to a accrual basis of accounting.
We need to take this process with the weight it deserves, especially at the beginning.
Speaking during the launch of the 2025-2026 budget-making process, Mbadi urged ministries, departments and agencies to exercise financial discipline, ensuring no resource misallocation or unnecessary costs.
Please take note that Treasury will not support any additional expenditures.
He highlighted reforms at the Kenya Revenue Authority aimed at improving revenue mobilization through reduced VAT, corporate tax and payee in the medium term to net more taxpayers.
This is the strategy. The thinking of the Treasury is not to increase the tax rate, is to reduce it.
I do not think that revenue collection can increase or can be enhanced without deliberate efforts to stimulate the economy.
The government has invested 560 million shillings in an e-procurement system, currently in its pilot phase, with a full rollout expected in January.
The entire government, national 48, end-to-end procurement process. This broken system must just stop.
Mbadi says the National Treasury has yet to disburse 96.3 billion shillings to counties and emphasized the need for clear fund disbursement plan.
Counties are in arrears about 3 months, which is hampering service delivery and development project.
The budget-making process for the financial year 2025-2026 has kicked off in earnest in an environment where the country is dealing with less than ideal revenue performance. We have seen escalation in public debt and debt servicing, as well as accumulation of pending bills together with carry-over expenditure. Wairi Mujenga reporting for Prime Edition.
Lower taxes in that story. Of course, that is something to look forward to in the next financial year. Now, moving on, a phone tracking system will soon be rolled out targeting Hustler Fund defaulters as the government intensifies efforts to recover lost funds. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Principal Secretary, that's Susan Mangeni, says sensitizing defaulters on the need to repay the Hustler Fund loan will form part of the strategies to recover unpaid 14 billion shillings held by defaulters.
The government has disbursed 56 billion shillings to 24 million Hustler Fund borrowers. Out of this, only 2 million borrowers have repaid their loans on time, with over 13 million borrowers defaulting on the payments. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Principal Secretary says the government will track Hustler Fund defaulters via their mobile numbers and systems set up by private companies to recover the money.
The KYC that is built around there, and especially now when it's integrated with the mobile phone, we even get to know where you are, because we can tell where you're borrowing from and also what you're doing.
Hustler Fund defaulters will also be sensitized.
We are reaching out to them. Some, they just need that sensitization, knowing that repaying back your loan is also going to give you ability to access more loan in the market.
Financial institutions have been encouraged to tap into Hustler Fund records to gauge borrowers with good credit score when advancing credit.
So Hustler Fund has provided a credit repair mechanism, and this credit repair mechanism, as a Kenya, you have now an opportunity. You can borrow, repair your credit, but also build up your credit rating.
Lenders, including SACCOs, should automate their services and increase investments in cybersecurity systems to protect members' savings.
Spent close to $5 million to build more resilience from a cybersecurity infrastructure, not the people that we have spent money on, but purely to build firewalls, to bring fraud management systems, to bring early detection systems.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, Kenya Pipeline Company has sealed a 1.6 terabyte per second fiber optic cable deal with Skyonet Solutions to deliver last-mile connectivity to customers. Take a look at that story.
As part of its revenue diversification, Kenya Pipeline Company ventured into data business in 2018 to utilize its vast electricity network after being granted a Tier 2 network infrastructure license by the Communication Authority of Kenya.
You know, it's not about the end-use capability that they offer to homes. It's about how it is that we then enable more providers to be onboarded onto the internet services platform. So yes, we're looking forward to collaborating as well.
Further, KPC says the long-haul cable will help reduce connectivity cuts as it is less prone to vandalism as it lies beneath their pipelines, which are under surveillance.
We're able to pick up submarine capacity directly and not having to go through another service provider. So by that fact, by its own, that means that we will have better quality of service on our network, improved SLAs on our network, and thirdly, of course, we should definitely have better rates on our network as well.
He called for more public-private partnerships to tap into the immense broadband infrastructure, noting that nearly all sectors are now dependent on ICT.
So we're asking for this discussion to be fast-tracked, and if anything, to even include us, the Tier 3 operators, because we are the ones who are at the ground and we are the ones who are interacting with the customers on a day-to-day basis.
The new fiber link will offer increased diversity and resilience for enterprise data centers and greater bandwidth availability for local internet service providers, as well as community networks in both Mombasa and Nairobi. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Women entrepreneurs have been encouraged to source for financial linkages to acquire capital for their startups. Grasa Machel Trust Country Manager Masi Gishangi says there is need for women entrepreneurs to form partnerships with key players in the small and medium enterprises value chain to access critical networks, to access affordable capital and markets to grow their businesses. And on that note, we close the business news this evening. Sports news is coming up. Daniel Wahome is on standby to bring you that. My name is Betty Kiptum. Good night.
Zawadi za kila wiki, 100,000 kila wiki, 250,000 kila wiki. Uamuzi ni wako. Sasa Lotomoto kwenye holiday bonanza hii inakuletea game mpya kupitia *570# option 4 na ujishindie up to 250,000 Kenyan shillings ukiwa nyumbani. Na draw ni ya kila wiki na kupata tikiti yako ni kupitia *570# pekee option 4 na tikiti yako ikitufikia inaingia ndani ya drum.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahom and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, the national soccer team Harambee Stars will face Namibia tomorrow in their second Group J match of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers in Orlando, South Africa. The Kenyan team, coached by Engin Firat, is determined to get their qualification campaign back on track after being held to a barren draw by Zimbabwe in their opening match last Friday in Uganda. Five-time African champions Cameroon top Group J with 3 points after beating Namibia in their opening match last Saturday. Kenya and Zimbabwe are second with a point each, while Namibia tails the group with no points. Kenya and Namibia have met 6 times before, and the two teams last met in 2013 during the FIFA 2014 World Cup qualifiers, in which Kenya beat the South African team by a goal to 0. The top 2 teams in each pool qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations finals, scheduled to take place in Morocco. Do not miss the action live on KBC Channel 1 from 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Kenyan team, coached by Engin Firat, is determined to get their qualification campaign back on track after being held to a barren draw by Zimbabwe in their opening match last Friday in Uganda. Five-time Africa champions Cameroon top Group J with 3 points after beating Namibia in their opening match last Friday. Kenya and Zimbabwe are second with a point each, while Namibia tails the group with no point. Kenya and Namibia have met 6 times before, and the two teams last met in 2013 during the FIFA 2014 World Cup qualifiers, in which Kenya beat the Southern Africa team by a goal to 0. The top 2 teams in each pool qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations due in Morocco from December to January. The match between Kenya and Namibia is set to be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 beginning at 7 p.m. East Africa time.
The national under-23 men's 3x3 basketball team is optimistic of registering improved performance at this year's edition of the under-23 World Cup, scheduled for the 11th to the 16th of September in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia.
Kenya will be targeting to reach the knockout phase at this year's 3-on-3 under-23 World Cup after finishing 16th in the previous edition held in Poland.
This year we want to improve and basically at least have a target of 2 wins and to proceed to quarters.
The bond that we've created as a team, and we've been training together. We know each other's strength. I know my teammates well. So I think it's the gel that we have and the teamwork that we've been coming through all the sessions, and I think it encourages us.
Barred by their current 4th place ranking in Africa, Kenya will be out to go one better the global competition, where they are pooled in Group D alongside Latvia, USA, Chile and Lithuania.
And you see, we are dark horses in the tournament. I know the boys. We've had these boys for the last 2 years and they're able to perform. So our target will be every game we are going to take it as a final, despite playing the big boys of the tournament.
The Kenyan squad of 4 players will be captained by Ulinzi Warriors power forward Elisha Odhiambo and also consist Dennis Koja, Jackson Waweru and David Kishoi.
We went back to the drawing board, checked on whatever we did wrong and tried to polish on our mistakes, and this time round it will be better. Yeah, because we've worked on the areas that we didn't do well in the previous tournament.
6. Both the Kenya men's and women's teams are expected to leave for the championship tonight. Bernard Okumu, Prime Edition.
Now, Kenya Harlequins have consolidated their lead at the top of the Sport Pesa National Sevens rugby circuit after Victoria's outing at the Driftwood Sevens in Mombasa. Kenya Harlequin emerged victorious in the 5th leg of the national circuit when they beat rivals KCB 15-12 in a hotly contested final. The victory earned them 100,000 Kenya shillings, while KCB Rugby got 50,000 shillings. Kabras Rugby, who were the defending champions in Mombasa, had to settle for 3rd place after they beat Kenyatta University Black Blood 7-5 to pocket 25,000 shillings. Harlequins lead the circuit with 97 points, followed by Kabras, who are on 90. KCB are 3rd. Nakuru will host the next leg of the circuit, the Prince Louis Sevens, in a week's time.
Definitely, our goal is to aim for the overall national circuit, 7 circuit. So we are going to dig deep also in Prince Louis, Nakuru.
Kwa hivyo sisi tunakuza talanta, tunashikilia vijana na 10,000 shillings ni bronze category ya Tujiamini. Tujiamini initiative ambayo tuna support vijana kwa ground, tuna empower na pia tunawabadilisha maisha yao kwa njia moja ama nyingine.
One, I want to congratulate. There's been an amazing support. I'm seeing local companies as well that have supported this particular tournament other than the national companies. Wito wangu, they can't go wrong. They can't go wrong supporting something like this brand.
And the reigning Kenya National Rally champion Jasmine Chana is a winner of the inaugural KMSC Sprint Rally, which was held at Toniathi. Chana was navigated by his brother Ravi, won in his new Ford Fiesta R5, which he has only used in one event, the Nanyuki Rally, where he finished second overall. He was elated with its performance, where he beat the likes of Shadak Kaka Khan, navigated by Wangoi Mongai, and Nikhil Sachani, navigated by Deep Patel, who finished second and third, respectively. That's the sport for tonight. Remember, tomorrow, it's match day 2 of qualifying for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Kenya will be up against Namibia. Namibia, the home side designate, despite the match being played in Johannesburg, 7 p.m. East African time on KBC Channel 1 and also our radio services. Back to you, Mboya.
Thank you very much, Daniel Wahome, for that update. Of course, we'll be looking forward to viewing those updates that Daniel just shared with us. Now, that brings us to the end of this live broadcast. I want to thank you on behalf of the Prime Edition team for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. My name is Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya.
Harambee Stars plays Namibia in their second Africa Cup of Nations 2025 qualifier on Tuesday, 10th of September at the Orlando Stadium in Johannesburg, South Africa. Catch the match live on KBC Channel 1 beginning at 7 p.m. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
What's up? Welcome to the biggest, the baddest show on this side of the Sahara. If I do say so myself, how are you?
Wagwan! Leo ni kufinish kumalo, finish kumalo, finish kumalo.
Hey, Leo ni kufinish kumalo.
Yo, man, it's the baddest show in the 254 right here. So tell your homies to tell their homies the legendary, the